Okay, guys. So yesterday we did talk about how. Sorry, I said yesterday. That was Friday. Almost feels like yesterday. We did talk about how the market is moving and how BTC has the capacity for 28, then 31. Now we've seen BTC achieve 28K, and that has been pretty awesome. But there are a lot of factors which contributed to that. Beyond just the technical analysis, there were a lot of fundamentals that propelled that. So when that happened, like on Friday, we did see that the BTC money flow was super strong, which we talked about. The BTC was still super strong in its money flow, but altcoins weren't receiving that level of money flow, and it is still that way, although some altcoin did find a breakout along the way. But generally, if you could notice in the whole market, so many altcoins were just stagnant or didn't have that much movement like BTC did. As you can see, the money flow is still totally in a heavy resistance zone and not moving forward. And we also see the altcoin volume is declining rapidly as against the previous volume. Now, the reason for that is naturally when the market is moving, a lot of persons are looking at Bitcoin. When Bitcoin did hit and settle at 27K, a lot of altcoins started gaining grounds because they saw Bitcoin wasn't dumping yet. So that was hope for altcoin because Bitcoin was stable. Now there's much fear in the market that Bitcoin could make a fast rush into the 31K zone. And at that point, we could see some crash. So we're not seeing money flowing into altcoin because a lot of traders are waiting for that, as that could be an indication of altcoin dumping further or gaining momentum. So we're not seeing money flow into altcoin yet, although some altcoins do have money flow. Now we also see the same thing with the USD flow, that we are also at close to a support zone, which we talked about. And the same thing happening with BTC, that BTC has a tiny little bit movement more to do. So that is the movement that we're envisioning to get to 31K. So you see that around here before it hits the cap of our supply zone. Anything breaking outside the cap of the zone would then be that we are heading towards a bullish movement. Now, if you're following the news, there's a lot of news, a lot of reasons to FOMO into a long position that the market is going to break out. But this is a point to be very careful about. Now, one thing is clear is that this might be one of the greatest bull trap that we might see. So we might see that BTC does that hit. And if we go to the position in the market, we're just going to head there right now. We're going to see that there's too many long position growing in the market right now. And that could be victims of a large bull trap. So if you see the heat map over here, you're going to see too much long position. You see all of these bubbles here, they're long. You're seeing a long position at 28,300 for $116 million. So there are too many long. As you're going more, you're seeing a lot of long positions growing around this area. So that could be a heavy trap to hold people into their position, and then we might see a decline into clearing all of those long positions. Like I did say, there are very few short positions left in the market, which will be totally cleared at 31,000. Over here in the heat map, we're only seeing up to 29,400. So when that happens, all the liquidity hunts for short would have been completed, and we could now see liquidity hunts for long position. So it's quite a time to be very careful, not so excited that all the markets are blowing up, so you want to jump into heavy long position. You have to really be careful. If we do have a decline from the current point of the market, it's going to be a heavy decline that could lead into a very high trap that you will not be able to cover up for. So we want to be very, very careful with any long position at this point. So last time we did take several trade on, coins like Max, for example, and we found that Max blew over here to over 60% movement, and that was pretty interesting. How Max was able to do that. So there was a lot of money flowing to Max among other altcoins, and we can see those flow over here. From the volume, we kept seeing a very spiky volume happening around here during our setup before the high push. So that is interesting. That it was able to pull to that. Now, a lot of the users who got into this trade, if you are on auto delivery, you did find out that despite the 60% movement, you were fine. But we did get complaints from several other users who possibly has 2 Tafabot accounts. Like I see the user asking me questions on that to help. So you do have 2 Tafabot accounts and you applied for auto deleveraging with 1 email account, and it was activated for that email while you were using the other account to trade. So if you were among those users, then you possibly got affected. Now, this is why it's important to be in flow with the communication happening in the community, while we have all the groups of announcements and all the channels. You want to be plugged in there. So I did see other users who never knew anything about auto deleverage. They don't know that happens because they weren't in the flow of communication. So you want to always be in that flow. So for such users, please, you want to reapply with the original account. You don't want to get affected again with such kind of pump, and get your auto deleveraging on. And that is very, very important. That is a function that does save us from such markets like this. If you have that on, you notice you were very, very unbothered with the market movement, despite how 60% movement is a lot. Then we did also have short on MK Arrow, and that did take a level of profit. So MK Arrow did touch into our first zone over here, didn't actually complete that. That is done. If you are on this trade, you've already made a lot of profit. You want to shut that down, or you want to set strategy period to 1 to close that trade. Now, the reason for that is we can see increasing volume on MK Arrow over here. So you could see the volume going on the upside here from what it formerly was. So from here, we started seeing a buy power happening on MK Arrow, but it's not a reason for us to long it yet because the volume, as much as we're seeing more buy power than the sell, is still not strong enough. So what we want to do is shut down any trade that is on MK Arrow. Then also we did have Ape also here. Now the same thing with Ape, we also saw that Ape was one of the coins, despite the movement upward with Max and the rest, they couldn't gain such momentum. So if you're there, you've also taken out your profit from Ape. That is a good thing. You've also taken out your profit from Ape. So what you want to do is the same thing. You want to set this to a strategy 1 if you're still on there to shut down the trade, or you want to shut it down right away because you've already made profit from it. Now we are also seeing that a little bit buy power increasing, but it's not strong enough. You could see the volumes are still very low. So most of these coins could keep dumping, but they don't have so much dump power as against the buy power right now. So we don't want to be exposed to such kind of market for now. Then also the same applies to Aave. If you're on any of those, you've taken profit already, you want to just set strategy 1, or you want to close outrightly. Also our trade on Ocean. So all of these guys have completed a lot of profit, but if you still have 1 or 2 profit cycle left to complete, you either want to close it right now, or you want to set strategy 1 to take in those profits and be done already. Then another guy that did perform very, very well also in delivering profit is TOMO. So that is also a beautiful stuff. So if you're in any of those, you want to set strategy 1 to close down the strategy at the next profit that is very vital. Why we're going to be looking into our trades for today. Now, TOMO is also one of the trades we want to do for today. So if you're on TOMO, you don't want to shut it down. We are going to be changing the settings for that. It's still a viable trade to take. So as we do jump in, we're going to see also how we're creating our setup. Now, I did mention for a lot of our users that we're going to be having something extra beyond auto deleveraging that is going to be coming up, but it's still in beta, just like we did give auto deleveraging after we were done with the beta testing. Now that promises higher profit frequency than auto deleverage. Now, auto deleveraging is super amazing in the level of risks that it does cover. So I'm going to show you a couple of my trades on that. So you want to look forward to that. But I did say that is a new function that does go with having a stop, unlike auto deleveraging that we're very unbothered despite a 60% market movement. So I'm just going to show you that. All right, perfect. So you have my Tafa screen over here. So you see a lot of the difference between every of the trade we're taking, the Ocean, the Ape, the Ave, all of the trades we took. So I'm using over here the new advanced auto deleveraging. So you could see the difference in profits in per trade as against down here, the difference in profits in the same market, the same strategy with auto deleveraging. So we're going to be opening this up. So you want to keep being active on the live setup, and we're going to open this up to beta just like we did with auto deleveraging for all users who want to opt into it. But this does have a stop loss. So with auto deleveraging, you're not necessarily using the stop loss, except the market wants to go to zero, then you're much more affected. But with this, it does come with a stop loss per trade. So that is important to note. So in one trade, you're seeing I'm making 5% of the total capital for that market as against the regular auto deleverage. So you want to look forward to that. Like I did say, a whole lot of stuff is coming up in Tafabot in the next couple of weeks that is going to be really, really amazing. And I'm going to be sharing that with you as we keep going on. So let's head straight into doing the setups for today. Once again, like I did say, we want to be careful with long. Of course, the market can go long, but we want to be absolutely careful. Any decline from here is going to be a decline you don't want to be held in. So for that, we're still taking in a lot of short trade for markets that are still very, very weak. Okay, a user said, please, I lost some trade because my auto deleverage is not activated yet. I'm new to crypto. I'm going to state that again. If you're here, you still don't have auto deleverage, you want to send an email to futures@tafabot.com. Please, you want to note to send it with exactly the email that you did sign up or that you're actively using on Tafabot. Or if you did send with another email, you want to specify you want it for this account. Be specific with that so they do not activate for an account that you're not actively using. So you want to send to futures@tafabot.com. I just sent the email again in the group. Okay, so a user is asking for max setup on short. Are we still holding it? Yes, I'm still holding that. It has delivered about one profit, but from other users who jumped in really late that I did specify in the Telegram chat, if you're following, for users who asked, is max still a good entry? And I said, yes, you've all completed your cycle. If you've not, you want to set to strategy one, take one profit from it, which it is almost getting to, and you're out of that trade. So I still do have max on. So you want to just set strategy one to close the trade once it takes a profit. Okay, for users who are still saying my MKRO is still long from the previous time, I did explain how MKRO is right now. We are closing the short because it's beginning to have a lot of strength, but that strength will not be viable if the market does decline. That's why we're closing short, and we don't want to short it again once we take our profit. So if you're in long, it could be a good thing in the sense that it is having momentum towards the long side. But if Bitcoin does decline, then we do expect it to decline. So for that, if your loss is very minimal, like a 1 to 5%, it might be good to just create a stop loss to call it off for such kind of trade. Okay, for other users who are still asking for the group, I'm going to send it one more time into the Telegram chat. So you want to look at for that for the Telegram group. You want to join there, set a Telegram alert on the group. So when we do send a message, you get an alert instantly on what to do. So I did send that right away into the group. And let's hit towards our setup right now. So again, we're not going to be having a setup for sports because we're still very, very careful with the long right now. Our setup is going to be for futures, and depending on how the market goes, then we will be able to create a setup for sports. Now, if you're on sports, you don't want to feel bad at all. There are times that you're going to be having majorly sports setup, but of course, futures are still able to take sports setup. There are times that you don't want to be on sports setup. All right, so our first market, a lot of you are still asking, how do you apply? Please follow what I just said. You want to send an email to futures@tafabot.com and just say, I want to apply for auto deleverage. This is my account username. So our first setup for today is TOMO. So if you still have TOMO running from the previous setup, like my TOMO has completed, but if you still have it running, TOMO is still a solid setup. Now, you want to pick that right away and create, but there are changes to our TOMO. Now, the reason for that is TOMO still has declining volume, and despite all the market move, it's still in the bearish angle of the trade as there are no money flow into TOMO. So if the market does remain static, TOMO is still going to be static and dumping. If the market dump, TOMO is going to have a harder dump more. So that is a market we want to set for. Okay, another user is asking, how do we apply for the new auto deleverage beyond this one that reaches for the more profits that we are going to communicate later on? I'm just giving you hints into that. But of course, not everybody likes to take a stop loss. But if you're a professional trader, you're going to understand that stop loss should be a very good partner in your trading career. So that is going to be super, super good for pro guys who says, okay, I'm going to hit a stop loss at this point if this trade does this, that. But when the trade does fine, I'm going to be making a crazy amount of profit. Like example, in a $5,000 capital, you're seeing over $500 to $1,000 profit most times. So that is something really beautiful as against the much more secure auto deleverage. So let's jump in. TOMO, we're tracking 35 price movements and an average of 6. This time we have 6 for whatever capital you're using. So you want to put that setup right in. TOMO 35, 6, and I'm doing that setup right away on my Tafabot app. If you're new here and you don't know how to do the setup, you go to the Tafabot Martingale calculator and you put in the capital you want to put into the trade. You put in the price movement, which is given here 35. And you put in the average 6, you put in your leverage 10S, and you make sure auto deleverage is on and continue. Now, I also want to make clear that a lot of users took that I have auto deleverage enabled in the calculator to give me my setup as having auto deleverage enabled for my account. Now, there are two different things. The calculator gives you what your setup should be like if you're using auto deleverage. And if you're not, it gives you what your setup should be like. So this is only giving you the setup, but you need to have it active on your account by applying for auto deleverage. Like I said, in the next few weeks, you will not need to apply as it will be in your new Tafabot app. So back again, make sure you've already taken this setup right away. TOMO 35.6, we are shorting it again. You want to create the setup for that right away. Let me know if you're done with the TOMO setup. If you have it before, you want to update it, the price movement is different from last time. Let me know if you're done, and I'll be setting mine also. All right. TOMO setup. The setup is still on your screen, so you do not miss it. And you want to jump right into making that setup. TOMO shorts. We're going to jump to the next setup. In the next few minutes, you want to be sure to take this as fast as possible. Again, if you do miss it, we try to send it again in the Telegram chat. Okay, let us go. Someone say, I don't see the setup of the price movement on the Tafabot app. Where can I get the calculator? I just posted the calculator once more into the chat to you. So you want to look at the Zoom charts to get it. The calculator is on the website right now. It's going to be on the app in the next couple of weeks, and you'll be able to have automated setup. That is something beautiful. That in the next coming week, you will not need to impute the setup yourself, like imputing entry 1, entry 2. You will not need to do that. All you need to do is go to the Tafabot app, put this price movement average, and automatically you have your setup created for you in your app. So for now, you're putting in the setup. So you want to do that right away. Let me know if you've taken this setup. A user said, done. Another user, can we start it right away? Yes, if you've taken the setup, you want to click Start Bot right away. You want to start up the bot right away. Let it start running. You're going to start taking the profit from TOMO. All right. The strategy period is 5. Please do not miss that. That is important. Let me know. We're going to be moving to the next setup right away. I'm just turning on my TOMO. All right. If you do have some questions about that, you could send into the chat. As we're about to move into the next setup as fast as possible. Almost started. Perfect. Then we're going to show what we should expect from TOMO. If you could see my screen on the chart. So we still have a large declining volume on TOMO over here. We still have a large declining volume, and the volume is breaking really bad at every new point. We're having lower volume. Less persons are interested in buying TOMO right now, hence why it is dumping. If you started your TOMO right away, you're already on profit. I just saw that. That is beautiful. All right, and my Tafabot could not continue. My foil is exhausted. I'm just going to transfer some bot foil into my Tafabot right away. Transfer bots foil, confirm. All right. Okay, so we do expect TOMO to keep declining because it has a large declining volume. Now, at what point are we expecting is number one, TOMO getting to the first zone over here of 47 cents. Now, if TOMO does decide to push forward, let's say a whale gets in and decide I want to put in money into TOMO and he has enough capital to blow up the TOMO volume, what do we expect from it is the number one, TOMO gets to 65 cents. That is a 24% movement, and it decides to push forward for 71 cents for a 35% movement. So that is what we're covering for if TOMO does decide to go in the upward zone. We're going to move to our next setup right away. I want to believe a lot of you already got TOMO set up. So our next setup is for REN. It's right on your screen. We still have average of 6. Price movement for REN is 49. We're tracking a 49 movement. We're also shorting it once again. Our strategy period is 5. It's right on your screen. You want to create the setup for REN right away. REN 49, you want to put that in your calculator, any capital, and 6. 49, 6, leverage 10. Our user is asking how to set up my Martingale bot. You are new. User Emmanuel, what you want to do is join the Tafabot group. Okay, you're gonna get an invite today. You're gonna see an invite today in the Tafabot group, the setup group, for a live setup on how to create the bot. If you're new here, you've never created the bot before, you're gonna get that on how to create it. I did post the channel in the Zoom chat, so you want to see it on the chart. Let me know if that is clear. We're still setting up the REN setup. You want to do it right away, and you want to start it up right away. I don't have a bot for REN, so I'm going to create a new bot. For the user manual, I think this might be helpful for you. So I'm going to share my app on creating the setup. Yes, you want to start it up right away. Okay, I'm going to share my app on creating the setup as I create my REN setup. But beyond that, I did send the Telegram channel again in the group, in the Zoom chat. So you want to pick that right away. You want to join that group right away, as we are going to continue communication over there. So back to REN, we're tracking 49.6. So I'm going to share how I do create the setup so you could do right away. Okay, so here you have my Tafabot screen. So if you're there, you want to go straight into creating a new bot. Like I don't have a REN bot, so I'm going to say REN setup. Next is, I want to select the exchange. I want to select the exchange that I want to trade on. For me, it's Binance. You can use any exchange. I want to put in the market REN. After that, the next thing you want to do is put in the capital that you want to trade REN with. So I'm going to say I want to put in a $5,000 capital into REN, and I want to do a REN short. Let me know if you're following this. And Martingale type is normal. Then I go to the calculator to get the data of my REN setup, which I will get my first entry, number of entry, and the rest. But before that, let's fill in all the details. Leverage is 10, take profit is 1, all of the same thing you see in the setup screen. Relaxed strategy period is 5. Number of re-entry condition is 0.1, 0.1. So now we have first entry capital, number of entry, and entry configuration left to impute. So for that, you want to go to the calculator like I have mine over here. So you're going to impute the same thing you did on your Tafabot, $5,000. And then you have price movement. We're tracking 449. I'll just confirm that again. So 49 and average 6, leverage 10. Then you click calculate. It gives you the setup. So I'm going to pick this setup. Number of entries 8. First capital is 8.2. And I head over here. First capital 8.2. Number of entry 8. Leverage 10. Entry configuration. I have it over here. Price drop 6, 12, 18, 24. You just want to impute the same thing just like that. So back to the app, 6, 12, 24, 30. After that, we have 36, 42, 48, 36. You want to make sure you're not copying what I'm doing. You want to put your own capital in the calculator to get the data for your capital. It's not going to be the same for everyone. Hence why we have the calculator. We want to go 42, and next we want to go 48. So you don't want to copy the same thing I'm doing and just put in the same data. You want to get what your calculator gives to you. Okay, so then you save and you're done. So I'm going to click create bot. Bot is created. I go straight and I look for the bot I created on the start. REN, you can see over here. I click start bot, REN bot started, and that is it on how to start the bot. I hope you did catch that. If you did not, you also want to be in the Telegram channel to get how to do that more. Another is a please share recording on how to connect Bybit to Tafabot app. Yes, we are also doing that today. So use a Scandal. You want to join the same Telegram channel I posted, and there we are going to be sharing details today, later on today, on how to connect each of the exchange to Tafabot. Again, you have the REN setup in your screen. If you did miss that earlier, you have it back in your screen. You want to create that setup right away, start up the bot right away, and we're going to move into order setup. REN is already on profits. If you did take the setup, it's already making profits. We're just going to give a few minutes to make sure we do all get the REN set up, and we're going to move forward from that into the next setup that we have for today. A user says, how long am I expecting feedback for auto deleveraging activation? If you did apply for that, then you should already be getting a feedback in the next couple minutes or hours maximum. So you want to look out for that in your mail. Now, if it is activated, you're just going to get a confirmation. You don't need to do anything. But you don't want to start your setup until you have that confirmation. So your bot runs with auto deleveraging. Let me know if you're done with the REN setup and we want to move on right away to other stuff. If you're done with the REN setup, you want to move on right away. I'm just going to show you my REN setup that we started up just couple of, should I say, minutes or seconds ago. So if you did follow my REN setup, if you're looking at my screen, this is my REN setup. It's already on $11 profits. That is good. So I'm using auto deleveraging, but auto deleveraging aggressive, meaning it's aiming for more profits in the markets. So you want to make sure yours is set up and it's going to start taking profit ASAP. Another user, Martingale calculator, is it in the app on the website? It's on the website. We've stated that a lot of time. Once again, you can see it on my screen, and I'm going to share the link to the group. Again, that is the link for the calculator. You want to get that right away. So let's jump on and see what are we expecting from REN, believing that you already have all the setups done. So for REN is one of the market that did get the money flow, one of the altcoins that did get the money flow. And that is beautiful. We did see it push up a little bit, a whole lot, not even a little bit. So over here, what we're tracking for REN is the fourth zone. We have the fourth zone over here at REN going back to 11 cents. So if REN does decide to break forward, means there's a lot of capital going into REN, a lot of buy power. Then we'll see REN first at 1.5, a 10% zone, next a 24% zone, and the maximum at 49%. So we're covering for the maximum. So if REN does decide to blow up again, you should not be bothered. You shouldn't be bothered because you're covering up for the maximum zone and you're on auto deleverage. Now, someone is wondering, but REN is pumping. Why are we shorting it? If you watch REN right now, is it on a high percentage already? Someone might think we're shorting it because it has pumped. That is not the reason. You want to pay attention to volume right away. You want to pay attention to volume. So over here, we saw REN started a level of accumulation over here. That's why REN did pump. So you start seeing accumulation happening over here. Volume at each point was topping the order. Now, at a point, we did have the blasts for REN, where we then have a lot of buy power happen around here, but we can see that buy power declining a lot, and we're seeing the buy power declining, and we're seeing a heavy sell power around here. Now, that is not super strong yet, but that is already happening. So it would mean if that continue progressing, we're entering at the very best entry. So if you did take an entry here, as much as that is beautiful, that would have been a bad entry, but we're seeing over here that the volumes are already declining into a large resistance zone. So that is a reason we're shorting, not because the market has gone up a lot. So you want to be careful with that. Someone said, I can't set the price movement in my trading view. How do I do that? We already have the price movement given to you. It's not on your trading view. You need to set it. It's on the Tafabot Martingale calculator to get your setup to use on the Tafabot app. So you really do not have business with TradingView. We do use that to show you what the market is planning, so you don't have to do that yourself. Okay, we want to move to the next setup ASAP. Let's go. Okay, so for our next setup, I want to believe you already have REN. We have COTI over here. So COTI, we're tracking a 38 movement and a 6 average. We're still shorting COTI. We're going to see why also we have COTI as a short. So you want to set up that right away into COTI. So it's right on your screen, the setup for COTI. You want to take that right away. Price movement 38, average 6. I'm going to be setting up my COTI right away. Right, all right. If you're done with the COTI setup, do indicate as usual. COTI. I don't have a COTI bot. Some users are really fast, done with COTI setup already. Interesting. is the price movement 36 or 38? It is 36, is right on your screen. I do keep it in the Zoom screen so you don't miss it. It's 36. I want to create a bot for COTI. I do not have one. The user who is done, you're really, really fast. COTI setup, trade on Binance, market COTI. You can trade on any exchange, don't forget that. Strategy mode short. So if you're here and you're a spot trader, you don't want to feel bad like we're not giving a spot setup. It's not for us to create a spot setup. We try to follow what the market is doing. So we don't just want to give you a setup because we want to give you a setup. We want to give you a setup into what we expect the market to do. So a lot of time the market will not be going up, means you shouldn't make a spot setup, because spot only puts you in the buy angle, not in the sell angle. So you don't want to create a setup for that. Now, there are times that the market will start progressing upward. When we are done with the short, then we move to having a long setup that you're able to take in spot. So you don't want to feel bad when you're not able to take a setup just like today. It simply means the market, we are not certain of it going in the upward direction, and you don't want to be at risk of going in the wrong direction. For others who are trading spot because you don't have country restriction for futures, you want to check out other exchange beyond Binance that allows you to create futures API from your location, and there are several of them, and we do support all of those exchange. So you want to look out for those exchange and use them, because if the market is fully bearish, you have no trade on spots. Trade will only be on future. Of course, there are trades you can do on spot, but that will be accumulation trade. Means you know that the market is going to go down, but you're creating a setup to start accumulating the market. For example, someone could create a setup of COTI to say, okay, I know the market is going to go down, but I want to accumulate COTI. So I will make profit when you guys are done with your shorts. So someone is accumulating the same price movement, the same average. For every time we're taking profits, you're buying more COTI. So when the market goes up, you're going to sell. That is also possible. But it means if the market is going down, you only have to then wait till it's your turn to take profits. If you're done with the COTI setup, let me know. Strategy period. Some users are super fast. Done. You want to start it up right away. COTI 36.6. Done and started. Amazing. Super fast. Done. A lot of done and started. That is lovely. If you've started already, then COTI is already moving in the profit side. That is beautiful. If you've not, you still have the opportunity to start it right now. A lot of done. My COTI also completed and started. I didn't have a COTI bot, so I had to build a new one. So mine is also done. If you've not, it's still on your screen. You want to take that setup. While you're doing that, let's see what COTI has for us. So we head back into the chart for COTI. So over here, you could see my screen on the chart. First is, why are we shorting COTI? For the same reason as the other markets, we're seeing heavily declining volume from over here. For COTI, you can see the volume dropping at each new move. The volume dropping means less traders are interested to buying COTI. Therefore, the value is going to keep decreasing. We see volume dropping. Now, at this point, we see COTI entering into the bearish zone, and we can see that over here, our bearish zone is at this point. So we already see COTI dropping into that bearish zone. That is a beautiful thing, and is also showing in the volume that the volume is dropping into the bearish zone. So what are all our zone for COTI? First, we're looking at COTI coming to 65 cents right over here at a 13% movement. If it does keep dumping, we're looking at a 31% at 51 cents. Now, what if COTI breaks above and says, okay, I'm not dumping because new money flow came in? Now, always, the reason why we use the Martingale strategy is that as much as analyses are amazing, analysis could be nullified at any point for several reasons, like new money flow, new FA, fundamental. There was a news that came out. There could be anything at any point that could make a setup invalid at a particular point. So that is the reason for the Martingale structure that covers up when that happens. So if that does happen, we're covering up for the first and last zone. So the first zone is COTI moving to 89 cents, approximately 0.99 cents, sorry. And if it does keep progressing, we're going to see a 38% movement to 10 cents. So that is what to look forward to. And we're covering up for that whole movement. If that does happen, and we're going to be taking much more profit from it. So you want to make sure that is all done and set up for today. All the setups, so user said TOMO, COTI, all done. So we're looking forward to the market. We're looking forward to BTC. Remember, all our setup are all BTC dependent. We still have a little space for BTC to cover a little zone. So that is the zone that we expect BTC to hit up to 31. But we are not longing it because you do not long the end of a zone because that will be a risky long. It's just a minute movement. Once that is achieved, we could see a lot of dump happening in all of the markets. There could also be other school of thought that BTC does achieve that and decide not to dump, then altcoin will start gaining momentum. If that does happen, we are going to be updating in the group what to do on that, but we are not seeing that happening yet. So all of our setup are still super interesting. The only coin that if you still have a long on, you just want to put a stop on or stop it outrightly, is the long for MK Arrow, although it's gaining momentum, which is why we closed our short. But you also want to be careful because it's going to be influenced by Bitcoin if Bitcoin doesn't go in that favor. So that's amazing. That's going to be it for our setup for today. COTI is on profit. A lot of our setup are already running into profit. That's going to be it for today. We don't want to take a lot of setup because we want to watch what Bitcoin does with this level that is left. That will determine if we should extend into much more setup, like over 10 or the rest. If it does, we're going to create numerous setup. So you want to put your capital among this setup for now and watch for the market. This is Monday. We're going to be waiting for the US market open. That should be happening in a couple hours from now. So we're going to see how the market reacts to that. Also, is going to determine a lot on how we are moving. So that is going to be it for today, Taffers. We're going to continue reviewing in the Telegram channel. You do have a feedback before we close it down for today, or a question, you want to send it to the chat right away. And again, if you've not joined the Telegram group, I just sent that into the chat again to make sure you're there and you do not miss out on any information. If you do apply for auto delivery and it's not on, I'm also going to follow that up with the team in charge to make sure that in the next 30 minutes after this call, all auto deleveraging is activated. So you want to watch out for your email to give you a go ahead for that. Okay, a user say most of the big crypto exchange don't support futures trading here in the UK. Please tell us which exchange could we use for the UK. Okay, I'm gonna speak with a lot of our exchange. Like you do know, we do have partnership with all the major exchange, official partnership with Wobi, OKS, KuCoin, and the rest of the biggest guys. So I'm going to ask them for which has a workaround for the UK, and I'm going to find a response in our training tomorrow. But you could also research by going on the exchange yourself and doing that. Now, what some users do, which also I'm not advising, is that they have a friend in any of these other parts of the world who creates an account for them. So anywhere that you have this exchange supported, so you have someone there who creates an account for you with your email, your data, blah, 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 but you're managing the accounts from the UK, from the US, wherever, but this account is controlled by another created by another user in a supported country, but you totally own the account. So you could explore that options also with a trusted friend who can set up the account for you, but you 100% control with your 2FA, your email, and the rest, and you're able to manage it from your location. Someone said, please, when do we have aggressive auto deleverage? You're going to be informed on that. Want to make sure we look at every angle on it, which is why we keep running it every day to see every possible angle on it before we release it out to you. Okay, another user is good to tell us in the beginning how many setup. We try to do that. If we did miss it, you can always update your setup with a higher capital. You could do that right away. It doesn't affect your setup. You could just switch it to a higher capital and that would be fine. Okay, COTI on KuCoin is coming up with the error as not listed. Is there another name for COTI on KuCoin? I'm just going to jump and check that right away. Let me see. KuCoin, is there a different name for COTI? If not, means KuCoin doesn't, have COTI, or they have delisted it. That would be funny. They used to have COTI. KuCoin is on COTI, but it was removed from the futures trading. Okay, so it's not on the futures. They only placed it right now on the spot. So if you are on KuCoin, means you couldn't take the COTI trade. That is fine. Okay, guys, there's a lot of questions. I hope we've been able to attend to all of it, and we're going to call it for a day. You want to look at the Telegram channel right away. We're going to be posting the setup right away. If you did miss that, to check on that. Someone said, when I try to use $200 in calculator, it shows invalid. Please let me know which of the setups are you doing with $200. I'm going to share my screen and do the same setup. Let's be sure. In the setup, we try to cover up the capital range. Of course, most times there might be disparity in 201, 203, and we might need to review that. So I'm just going to check on that. I'm going to be sharing my screen again. Make sure you can see that on the calculator. And we want to put COTI. For COTI, we're covering up 36.6. So you have $200, 36.6, leverage 10, also deleverage on. You have your setup. Let me know how you said you didn't get it. I just did that. You could see my screen, 236 says you do have a setup for COTI already. So that is working. Let me know what you didn't do right. Okay. Let me know if that is clear for that user. And before we do end the Zoom right now, let me know if that is clear, and jump into the Telegram group where we are going to be sharing the setup again.